Me and Carter are about to do our first roadside logging. I believe I have done those before. Yeah, I've done them before, but I've never, I don't think I've ever put one on the channel yet. But I've got one that's perfect. It's a big oak, if I'm not mistaken, because I've passed it many times. It's been down for a couple years, if I'm not mistaken. But I stopped earlier at the woman's place that owns it. I had got wood from her husband before. They're an older couple, and her son, I think, lives there too. But I stopped there and I asked her about getting it. She said, yeah, that was fine. She said that lots of people have talked about coming and getting it and nobody's got it yet. So I guess maybe it's on a hill. It's on a hill pretty good. And it's right off the road, pretty close to the road. So I consider this roadside. It is right off the road. And I'll show that to you right now. We're about to it. And it's literally right down the road from home. So this is great. And she asked that if I would get the brush though after and bring it back behind her home. They live on a farm right here. Right there's their farm, and the tree is right there ahead. So as you can see, it is a roadside logging. Right there's the tree.
That thing right there?
No. They live, no. Okay, so right here we've got to get through this gate, she said. All right, so I'll set this up, get through this gate. Yep, that's a big oak tree. Awesome. Hopefully it opens inward.
Did you say we were all right to come here anytime I wanted?
Yeah,
Oh,
she
good.
told me. Not all the time, just to get this tree. Just to get this tree cleared up. Yeah, it's on a pretty good hill, for sure.
That is a good hill.
Huh?
That is a good hill.
I don't want to roll it down into my truck.
Yeah.
So there's our home, the woman's home. And there's where we came in. That's sitting on a hill pretty good there. And then there's the tree itself. So the road is right there. There's the tree. It is a massive tree, oak tree it looks like. And it may be a little tricky. That's probably why a lot of people didn't mess with it. But she told me she didn't want me to get hurt. So I'll have to have Carter back. Carter, you're gonna have to stay over there while I do this. You really are. So for one, you've got to watch for some venomous snakes here. Oh man, that is massive. It's a big tree. Wow, well, a lot bigger than I thought it was. Definitely dangerous one. I don't know that my bar will go through that, to be honest. Getting it down is one of the main things, just cutting through it and getting it down. And it is on a good incline here. As you can see how much higher I am in the truck there. Oh, it went right over the fence, it looks like. There. So it's gonna have to come down on that fence. That is a big, big tree. A lot of wood in that. It is, but it's a dangerous one. Yeah. For sure. Man, yeah, it is. Huge. All right, well, let's get set up and see what we can do. Okay, yeah, this is a massive tree. Carter's over there, way away from the tree. I don't know that this bar can even go through it. I've just got a 20-inch bar on there right now. I'll definitely have to buck it from both sides. But the first thing I want to do is just get this thing down on the ground. And right here's where it came from. All this right here. So it just, I think it was a windstorm. But it literally just broke off this tree. So I'm going to go down far enough to where, probably around the fence, right around there, so where I can get my bars through it. And I'm going to cut right there to try to get this thing on the ground. And once it's on the ground, then I'll plan to buck it up. But it's very dangerous in the air like that. See what we can do. This tree's back here behind me. It's a very dangerous tree. I've cut it up top there almost all the way through. But I've got me a longer bar on there now. I had a 20-inch, now I've got a 24-inch. And I think what I'm gonna do, I'm thinking I'm going to remove some of these branches first, actually. I just want to get this thing on the ground. It's a very dangerous tree. We're on a pretty good slope here, and you can't really tell it from the camera, I don't think, but it's a pretty good slope. So I just want to get this thing on the ground. It's a dangerous tree. This is the kind of tree right here that if you do the wrong thing, it can kill you real quick. This tree is just on such an incline. You can't tell it really. Like there's my truck. Road right there. And it's just kind of a mess really. And it's a big heavy oak. I don't think you can tell how big it is in the video. Definitely not. It's a lot bigger in person than it looks in the video. But I just want to go about this the right way. So this tree here is it's a pretty dangerous tree really. I mentioned this again later on in the video. I'm kind of editing, but the woman told me that she had, I think around 5 other men had said they wanted this tree, one for a log and some for firewood. And I guess when they all seen it, what a mess it was, none of them wanted to deal with it. So this tree was probably a good 3 foot off the ground elevated, you know, and all the branches were on the far side there across from me. This tree was also on a pretty good slope. You probably can't tell that from the video, but it's going downhill a pretty good ways here. The slope itself is pretty aggressive. And then on the other side, it was just a mess. I mean, there were all kinds of branches and a couple more trees that were bent over. Around it here. And I'm gonna try to just pull this one because it's pretty much cut all the way through. And I'm hoping it'll break because I think this is what's holding this whole thing up. So once this one is cut, this whole thing should come down. There went the hook on the end of the chain. Broke it right off of there. This tree was a dangerous tree. I believe, you know, with guys that really know what they're doing and have done this a whole lot, it may not be much to them at all, but I took my time with it because anytime it's like a potential killer like this, I try to take my time. So what I was doing was I was trying to cut it nearly all the way through at the point where it looked like it was, you know, holding the weight of the tree. As you can see here, I've got it cut nearly all the way through, and then I would wrap the chain around it and try to pull it with my truck. I've got this thing popping down. I cut the top most of the way, and then I've come up through the bottom a little ways too, maybe about 5% through the bottom, and I heard it pop. So I just don't want to be close to this thing when it comes down because there's lots of branches on that side, and I'm afraid that when it comes down with all this weight, it's going to try to twist this way. And if I'm right there next to it, which is within a foot of it, if I'm cutting it with a saw, then this whole thing can come this way and just crush me, kill me. So I'm not taking any risks with this thing. What I'll do now is I'll get my chain again. I'll just get my hook here and link it on here, and then I'll get this one and connect it to my truck. We'll see what we can do. I think now I've got it. I was right there. I was able to break that off, but unfortunately the tree did not drop. And it was after this I noticed there was another big branch supporting the weight of the tree here. Here I am trying to kind of clear some of these branches and stuff out of my way. As I went, you know, as I kind of got this tree to drop little by little, and I would get to new branches after pulling the big branches out, I would try to get those out of my way, because I know that with things like this tree here, one mistake will cost you your life, and I know that. I'm well aware of that. Like I said, I'm no expert by any means, but I try to use common sense with this stuff, and it is physics too and everything, and you know, knowing how the pressure works and stuff like that. Here I am pulling another branch off, and as I said, as I cleared these out, I tried to clear, you know, stuff out of my way. That way I had a way out, you know, if something did go wrong. And I knew as well that, you know, with that I have a 24-inch bar here. This is actually a different day than at the beginning of the video. I came back with a bigger bar. And even though I had that bar, you're still within, you know, a foot of the tree. And so many branches were on that side there where, I was trying to kind of remove those a little at a time, because I knew that if something happened and that tree twisted towards me, those branches would get me. And even if the tree itself didn't get me, those branches would. So I tried to remove all the branches that I could off of the tree, because these are some pretty big branches. And that, after I got all of those removed, it made me feel a lot more comfortable about the tree. And so this day, pretty much what I did was just got the tree on the ground. You know, I was there for over an hour doing this, trying little by little. Here's the other big branch I mentioned that I noticed was still holding it. So I cut it most of the way through, hooked it to my truck. That I've got 2 separate chains there, so I would loop one around it, hook the other to my truck. I had probably a good 20 foot of chain, so I was far away from it. As you seen there, the tree dropped a lot. So that's the kind of progress I wanted to make. The old woman that told me I could have this tree asked me, she said, "Are you sure you can get that on the ground?" And I said, "Yeah, I believe I can." And she said, "There's been, you know, 4 or 5 other guys that told me they were going to come get it, and none of them have." And I believe the reason why is because when they get there to this tree, they see all the stuff that's wrong. And you can actually see that on the other side of this tree was a mess. There were 2 separate trees that were bent over, which are very dangerous. Like one of the branches from this tree had them bent over, and I was able to cut one of them, and it sprung and kind of slung it to the side. And so I knew it was very dangerous, you know. I knew it was a very dangerous tree, and I knew I just had to take my time with it. As you can see there, I made it drop again. And so this video, pretty much what I'm doing is getting this tree on the ground. The next video, Lord willing, will be me bucking this tree up and possibly splitting it as well. There's a lot of wood in this tree, so I'll have plenty of wood from it. I'm guessing 2 of the big loads at least, which is $400. Depending on where I sell it, it may be more than that if I have to deliver outside of my county. But that Johnson Red, just like I said, it's given me trouble ever since I've got it going, really. And part of the reason why is because he ported it and told me to get a carb, you know, and that carb just isn't made for that saw. And I've got a good 1/4 of an inch of throttle that's not opening up because it's not made for that. Like, and I may show that sometime, because when I pull the throttle, there's a 1/4 of an inch or so of throttle that is not opening up because it's the wrong carb. And so it's just, you know, it had trouble pulling that 24-inch bar in this oak even. And it's a shame, really, because I've put quite a bit of time and a little bit of money into that, and Daniel's worked on it, and just after all that, you know, where it's ported, the carb didn't work with it. So honestly, really, I would rather not even had it ported and just had it, you know, left it the way it was. That way the carb would, at least I could have got a carb that worked with it at least. So, but as I said, later on I plan to just get me a better saw. I'm kind of just done fooling with that Johnson Red at this point. All right, that's pretty much on the ground. Still ain't there completely, but it's just about on the ground. So I feel a lot safer now with it. Here it is, the end of it here. Some ants. Got a nest in there. I always kind of feel bad destroying their homes because they're hard workers. So I've got this big piece here. It's a big one too. That over there. All this limb wood here. And then look at what a log there. Goes way up in there. And that's a big one. Really big one. Yep, that's a big tree. Got this thing pretty much down now. That's a dangerous tree, ain't it? That's a dangerous tree, but it's pretty much on the ground now. I want to take my time with this one. That old Ford did pretty good. Harder on it than I should be, though. It's just a half ton. Jerking on it like that ain't the greatest, but it did it. This is a lot of weight right here, and this is just oak. Looks to be red oak, and it's solid and very, very dense wood. But so far so good, and done it safely and everything. Haven't got hurt at all. Or this thing could kill your ear. If one wrong move in this tree right here could kill you. Had a lot of branches on that side, and there's 2 other small trees on that side that were like bent over and had a lot of pressure on them. Actually, when I cut a branch off of one of them, it swung back. So, and that's things to look for when you've got tension on them and pressure like that. So I just took my time with this. I'm no expert by any means, but I just know physics, how that works, and I've cut quite a few different trees in quite a few different locations and scenarios, so I've kind of learned how to do it. But I've been nervous with this one the whole time. So I've been trying to take my time, use my truck, kind of cut it a little bit and to where I think I can pull it, and then get my truck and try to pull it. And so far it's worked pretty good.